Good morning and welcome to Huomenta Suomi.
Thank you.
Nigel Farage.
Good morning, welcome to our show. Mr. Farage, what do you think about the European Commission today?
Amazing. You know, all these countries, we joined this thing 30 years ago, you joined it 15 years ago, and we all thought we were joining a Europe where we trade together, cooperate together. They were the promises that were made. And now we find we have a European Commission, unelected by the people, unremovable, and they are the government of Europe. Most of the laws that are made in your country every year come directly from those unelected European commissioners, and what's happening in every country in Europe is the politicians are going in this direction, wanting more and more power, and the people are saying, what's going on? What's happened to our democracy? So there is a big gap that is opening up.
That was very critical. On the other hand, I think it would be very interesting to hear you say something positive about the European Union. Can you name 3 positive things?
Look, I mean, let's get this clear. I'm not anti-European, I'm pro-European. I want to live in a Europe where we have sovereign democracies. I want to live in a Europe where we trade together. I want to live in a Europe where we cooperate together, where we agree minimum standards, a Europe where we have reciprocal deals. All of those things I want, but I want us to do it as sovereign states, sitting around a table, coming to agreements. What I cannot support and what I cannot find a single positive comment for is being governed by unelected bureaucrats. It is totally against any concept of democracy. And you get to a point where when you have your own general elections in Finland or anywhere else, it actually becomes irrelevant who you vote for. Irrelevant who becomes your government, because the big laws are made by people that you can't vote for and remove. So let's have Europe, yes, but not this European Union, not political union.
But, Mr. Farage, if we want a good Europe, you know, the powerful Europe, I think so. Of course, we're going to have some strong government, just like Commission.
Well,
what do you say about that?
Well, do you want democracy or not? I mean, you can argue for strong government.
Yes, I live in democracy country now. I think so.
I'm not sure you do, actually, because what we've done, all of us have done, is we've given away. No one told us, but we've given our democracy away to the institutions of the European Union. I mean, look, 75% of the laws that are made in Britain every year are not made by the British government, are not made by people that we vote for. They're made by European commissioners. I mean, it's an incredible thing that's happened to us. Our democracy, our freedom, has been taken away from us.
So what is the realistic alternative you are offering?
Yes.
Well, what I want people to do is to have the opportunity in free and fair referendums so that they can express what... I mean, if the peoples of Europe want this model, if they really want the Commission to have the power, if they really want the European courts to overrule their own courts, they are, of course, entitled to have it, but only if they choose it. And if you look back over the last few years, there was a European constitution, the French voted no, the Dutch voted no, that should have been the end of it. But, of course, what they did is they rebranded it as the Lisbon Treaty. One country had a referendum, that was Ireland. They said no, and they were forced to vote again. And we're all collectively being given a Europe that we don't want. All the opinion polls now show that less than 50% of people living inside the EU support the institutions as they're currently constructed. So my fight and my drive is for there to be a proper, democratic Europe, one that I believe should be based on cooperation and not the current model.
So, sir, you like European Union?
No, I like Europe, not this European Union. Look, this is a European Union based on unelected people having the ability to make our laws, based on an idea that one size fits all across Europe. It doesn't work. And we're seeing that right now with the euro. Different countries forced together in a euro, the southern fringe now being pushed into desperate poverty, being pushed into a massive deflationary spiral, and people like you having to pay the bill. It does not work.
But I want one thing, because we have European Parliament. You're a member of the Parliament.
Yes.
But how is this? Is it the democracy?
It's very clever. I mean, the reason for having a European Parliament is so we can say to the people of Europe, oh, look, it's democratic. Look, the European Parliament is the first parliament that's been created in the history of mankind that cannot propose legislation and cannot repeal legislation. All the European Parliament can do is take proposals that come from the European Commission, we can amend them a bit, we can delay them a bit, but the government of Europe is the European Commission. It does not come from the European Parliament. So the democratic element in all of this is absolutely tiny, and far bigger than that and more important than that is even when countries do express their opinion in referendums and say no, they ignore the result and push on. We're up against a fanatical drive to build the United States of Europe, and I don't believe the people of Britain or Finland want it.
Very briefly now, what's the best thing to happen next?
Well, the best thing that could happen is for countries like Greece, Portugal and Ireland to leave the euro, because if they stay inside the euro, we're headed for civil disorder on a massive, massive scale, and real poverty will come for those countries. So I hope they'll leave the euro very soon, and I hope once that happens, we can all have a bigger debate about having the Europe that we want, not the Europe that we've got.
Kiitoksia. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
For this interview.
Väkevä puhe.